Friends, today we gather in a moment of transition, a moment that holds both the ache of letting go and the beauty of choosing what truly matters. Mosaic Unitarian Universalist Congregation has decided to dissolve our 501c3. That status will be gone, but although on paper that may look like an ending, in spirit, it is the opposite. It is transformation. As Unitarian Universalists, we strive for, support, and fight for some of the most beautiful things society has ever known: justice, compassion, dignity, and hope. That has been our calling through the ages, and it's undeniable. But we also must acknowledge something deeply human, that change doesn't always come easily. Like every person and every community, we often wrestle with it. Change can be frightening, uncertain, uncomfortable, and yet change is also the ground where growth takes root. That is why I am so incredibly proud of us. Proud to be part of a congregation that has shown the courage to face change, not with fear, but with openness. Proud that you have seen that change is not always terrible, that it can be the beginning of something new, the opening of a door we did not even know existed. History itself teaches us this truth. When Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, she could not have known the full extent of the movement her act of courage would ignite. When women first demanded the right to vote, the road ahead was long and uncertain. The change opened the way for generations who would never again be silenced in the same way. When scientists first turned their eyes to the stars, when artists broke from tradition to create something new, when communities dared to imagine justice where there had been none, the pattern was the same. Change was resisted and feared and sometimes even ridiculed. But time and again, change proved to be the birthplace of transformation. And so it is with us. So I want to explain why this pride runs so deeply within me. Because it is easy, so very easy to stay where you are, where we are, to remain in the comfort of the familiar. I've known this in my own life. I could have stayed in Macomb forever. I could have avoided looking beyond, never considering Springfield as a possibility for work. It would have been safer and easier to be close to my daughter. And yet, I chose to risk change, to step into something new, and it brought me to a role I never believed was possible. It took persistence, lots of persistence, and faith, and many applications, but it reshaped my life. We at Mosaic have done something very similar. It would have been much easier to cling to our name, to our structure, to the comfort of keeping what doors, even virtually, we have open. But instead, we asked a harder, more courageous question. What is the best way for us to live our values now? And the answer we found together is powerful. We will release what we have gathered, the money, the energy, the love, and give it to organizations in our community who will carry forward the work we care most about. Work that will shelter families, feed the hungry, inspire the young, and strengthen justice in ways we cannot fully imagine. This choice is not just practical, it is deeply faithful. It affirms that Mosaic was never defined by bylaws or budgets. Mosaic has always been us. Our values, our compassion, our willingness to act. By letting go of our organizational shell, we are ensuring that our spirit, our care, and our love will ripple outward, touching lives we may never meet and ways we may never know. And let us not forget, Mosaic's ripples have already reached far. When we collected food for families in crisis, when we showed up for vigils to stand against hate, and when we offered space for reflection and healing during times of national grief, those were pebbles. When we donated time and resources to shelters, when we opened our hearts to neighborhoods and neighbors in need, when we created a spiritual home where people could come exactly as they are, those too were pebbles. Each act may have seemed small in the moment, but the ripples traveled farther than we realized. Growth often comes disguised as loss, but it is not loss alone. It is a seed planted for a future that we cannot yet see. We have chosen integrity over inertia. We have chosen generosity over fear. We have chosen to live our lives, our ending, as a gift to the wider world, a gift to ourselves, because generosity transforms both the giver and the receiver. And I think back to the image I have shared with you before of dropping a pebble into the pond. The pebble itself is small, almost unremarkable, but the ripples, those ripples that travel from where that pebble fell. Rosa Parks was a pebble. The suffragists were pebbles. Artists, scientists, activists, neighbors who dared to care, all of them dropped something into the still waters of this world. And the ripples became waves of transformation. Mosaic, too, is a pebble. Our decisions today may look small in the vast expanse of history, but the ripples we send out, and the organizations we support, and the lives we touch, and the justice we nourish, those ripples will travel farther than we know. And the ripples we have already created, the compassion we have lived, the courage we have shared, the justice we have nurtured, those continue moving outward still. So today, there's not going to be a funeral for Mosaic. It is a celebration of its evolution. It is the story of a community that chose to live its life by its values all the way to the end. And in doing so, created a legacy that will endure far beyond our name. So we may no longer gather regularly under a specific roof or even under this name, but we will always be Mosaic. A collection of unique and shining pieces, creating something together more beautiful than we ever could alone. And so I say thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for daring to believe that change, while hard, can be holy. The world will be better because we are here, and the ripples of our love, past, present, and future, will keep moving outward, farther and farther and wider than we could possibly imagine.